Let's see if we can unleash Fel on our opponents with Clumsy Quest Warlock. The idea behind this deck is we are going to be trying to use Clumsy Steward as a way to make every card in our deck and every card into our opponent's deck temporary. This is key for our quest line, but it is also key in order to ruin our opponent's game plan if they are playing a greedy deck like Low Druid. Now, the quest for Warlock requires you to play 5 temporary cards since it recently got buffed up, and the reward is a 3-mana card that is a permanent rift on the board where you sacrifice a card to it. Then you get 2 of these 3 Fel beasts. One has charge, which makes things like Eternal Layover a really good win condition as a way to OTK your opponent. Now, for the Mulligan guide of the list, you are going to be looking for any card that can get you into Clumsy Steward or Clumsy Steward. This is going to be things like Cursed Catacombs, because if you can get this online pretty quickly, most of the time you can actually win the game. Outside of that, you'll look for any other temporary cards besides Deadline or Draw Power cards. Now, with that all being said, let's look at some games. Okay, Mage. Let's see what they have in store for us. It could be Quest. Quest would be the interesting answer. It also could be Protoss. Also, Elemental Mage. I think I mentioned it in like an earlier video since Lost City came out, but it's a deck that I haven't got around to testing again, just because I wanted to do a few things with the quests. I felt like focusing more on like the quests, sure, it's probably going to be like overdone by the time I get to every single quest that exists. But it also, I don't know, big ticket decks that I can try out. And it is Quest Mage, okay. And I thought the Quest Mage I put out was a little bit different than other people's Quest Mages, you know? Trying to find a good balance between focusing on brand new cards and focusing on older decks, but with newer cards in them, right? I have a few other ideas. The next list is going to be Taru Demon Hunter after this, which might not turn out that well. I don't think it can turn out as well as this deck because this is just a lot more greedy. But I did want to do something with Taru, and I've been wanting to do something. I forgot about her when I did the day 1 video, and when I came up with a bunch of decks for day 1, which is kind of funny because I was like too short of getting double my normal amount of day 1 decks, and that would have been an easy inclusion, but oh well, is what it is. I could have also done Quest Demon Hunter, but like, or do Quest Demon Hunter next, but I'm pretty sure everyone's going to be talking about that by then. I have a sneaking suspicion by the time this goes up, there will be quite a few Quest Warlock videos, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong about it. But I had cool footage here, so. And I almost already had it on the channel once, so I've just kind of wanted to get to it. Because I like the idea here, right? Any excuse to use Clumsy Steward on a thumbnail, I will actually take. It's a card that people forget about, and is so much fun. Fun for me, not fun for others, right? As well do this. Hey, it actually destroyed a minion. I would have been, knowing my luck, it would have been 1/1 of each. Then they would have needed, what, 10 damage to go face? Okay, Pocket Dimension. This will probably just complete the quest right now. The thing that I noticed about that deck in particular, when I was playing it, you want to choose the direct damaging spells to stay in your hand, but you also want to have the damage out right away. But because it doesn't only target enemies, backfires so easily, which is actually kind of a pain in the butt from what I've played of that list. Will you, or get rid of this. Hopefully we get, that's actually the perfect combo that I wanted to see. Okay, we're just making the next card they draw into it as temporary. But yeah, I think, honestly, if they want to fix Quest Mage, all you really have to do is make it where the reward only targets enemies. Maybe that makes it a little bit too strong, but I think it would be fine. It's either that or you lower the discover cost, or maybe increase the durability so you can do stuff like with it. But to be fair, the way I built the deck, you could actually get multiple copies of it off in the same game, which was actually kind of cool. Let's get rid of Deadline. What are we getting? Oh, that is pretty nice. Oh my. This is perfect game, isn't it? GG. Okay, Paladin. I am a little bit annoyed that we are still facing as much Quest Paladin, but at least it's a newer deck. I know some people are really, really angry at Protoss Priest. Like, it's been a while since Protoss Priest was like the top deck, so I'm not like as angry as some of the starship lists that we've been dealing with. But to be fair, like I fully understand. I think we just need to hit some of those older cards a little bit harder than they already have been. Because I think that was the problem with last year. Like, we're trying to, when Great Dark Beyond came out, to lower the power level of the cards, but because the previous year's cards were so high power level, they had to make a bunch of buffs to those cards to make them see play. And then when, I'm coining this out, by the way, when StarCraft came out, they were like, well, we want to make sure people like the StarCraft experience because it's our first crossover set. And I know a lot of people liked the StarCraft stuff when it first came out. I did for the first week. And then after the first week, I was like, oh, we really just have like 3 decks disguising themselves as like 10 different decks, right? Like everything felt the same. And by the time that ended, people were tired of it or starting to get tired of it. And then Into the Emerald Dream came out and it skyrocketed some of those decks even further. And then they were really sick of it. So I get it. Like, I get why people are upset about those cards. But I do think they did a decent job of lowering the power level in the last 2 sets. The outliers are, this is my conspiracy. Well, it's not really a conspiracy, but I would say the outliers for both Dream and Lost City, maybe even Great Dark Beyond, were all caused by some like older card from a previous set, right? The like 2 big outliers for this set were Low Druid and Quest Paladin, right? Quest Paladin was really strong because of Brain Gill, and Low Druid was strong because of a combination of Ceaseless Expanse, Giants, and Carrier, right? And then if we look at Emerald Dream, the big outliers were Armor Demon Hunter and Imbue Hunter, both of which were caused by either Starships or King Plush, which are cards from last year. There's probably some other outlier that I'm forgetting about in Great Dark Beyond that also fits that category. Oh, Zerg Hunter would also fit in that category, where Shafar, okay, Shafar was fine until they printed the Zerg cards, right? It's interesting to look at like the overall power level of the individual sets in like the last year or so. Okay, we're just using this to use a temporary card. And then maybe we'll get some temporary card that's actually... Oh, Brochure is such a nice card to randomly generate off of that. Is it good for anything else? No, but... Okay, we're going to get rid of the minion that doesn't draw them a card. Oh, Remorseless Winter. Wave of Tar might have been interesting too. Also, Wave of Tar is one of those cards that I have expect eventually is going to actually see some type of play. I think it just came out in a weird set where It didn't get any support itself, but as a control tool, it's actually, I would say the runes are what's probably keeping that card down, right? If you printed that card in Blood DK, I think that card would have seen a lot of play, but because it isn't in Blood, or you can't use it in Blood, I think it's not a card that will hardly ever see any type of play. I could be completely wrong. Well, we can't get rid of all the minions, but we can get rid of a good chunk of them here, right? We can get everything besides the Divine Shield. Oh, and I should have done it in the opposite way. Oh well, it is what it is. I don't think they'll be able to end the game from this position. At least not this turn. Tranagil also is a card that annoys me so much. I almost would want to say it would be probably a worse card if you actually made it a battle cry instead of a death rattle. Because right now, the fact that it's a death rattle is what kind of keeps it up, right? Okay, let's grab Voodoo Doctor, get rid of it. Okay, I can make that work. Then I'm just going to hope they do not have enough damage here. Because it looks like they were actually really, really close. Actually, in hindsight, we probably should have got rid of the Eternal Layover. I like to keep Eternal Layover just in case. Because Eternal Layover can enable some fun, wacky little OTKs. Okay, that isn't game, but it's close to game. Come on, domino effect. That could do it, depending on what we get here. Consume and cap perfect. If it was Kerrigan, we probably would have lost, but getting rid of the Eternal Layover, come on, something good. Not necessarily what I wanted. We can pop that twice. I'm going to use both consumes on one of them. I know we still have a Dark Marrow in the deck, but like it does get rid of that minion. Then we can get rid of the higher HP minion. So we got Xavius in hand. We're weirdly not in the worst position. I really should stop talking. Like, yeah, we're not in the worst position. And then I look at the board. I'm like, yeah, no, we are. Kind of are. Okay, it doesn't really matter what we grab. We're just going to sacrifice it. Okay, what are we looking for here? Yeah, I think this is the play. Give me brochure again, because that's funny. Okay, that's not brochure, but we can use that to get rid of one minion. We're still probably going to take the 10 damage to face. Yeah, maybe one. What is the chances that they can actually... I mean, only 2 cards in hand. I mean, they're big minions, don't get me wrong. I would have... maybe I wouldn't have. Okay, Brain Gill, that's okay. They have to trade, which is good. Okay, wait. Damage on board, we have 8. 8 plus 5, which is 13. Wait. Oh. Wait a second. Please don't tell me I calculated this wrong. Give me any type of direct damage. Never punished. Okay, temporary gaming against Rogue. I'm curious. I have a really fun Rogue idea that I want to try out. It won't be the next video that goes up on the channel after this. It'll be the one afterwards, I'm pretty sure. I really want to do something with Elise, and Elise opens up some really fun possibilities with good old Goldbeard. And by fun possibilities, I mean if you can get the copy on Elise's location, you will be able to do a bunch of damage to your opponent's face, depending on if you go for the 10 cost or the 5 cost. And that interests me a lot, actually. Okay, let's just slam this down. Let's grab Sleeper, pass it back. Okay, so they are quests. That's interesting. But yeah, the reason why it's not going to go up next is I want to focus on the card or cards that got some balancing changes to it and at least didn't. And I think while that is a cool combo, I think I can maybe make a list using Toru. I I think that would be something you all would probably be interested in. Let me know down below. I don't think anyone will cover it by the time I would get to it anyways, so that there's a 90% chance that will be Wednesday's video. I just gotta, actually get the good replays, right? Map. Honestly, a card that I completely forgot existed. Cool card. Really, really cool card. Allows you to search, like, key cards that you might need for whatever combo. It's something to watch out for, like, a combo deck in the nearby future. I don't know if it's going to be now, but I think at some point. I think it could also actually... Maybe I'm going to go back and try to do something with that Elise list. I think using Dollmancer Dorian might actually allow you to be a little bit more greedy with the minions, because there's a lot of ways to draw minions in Rogue right now that are cheap, and that could be an interesting way to do it. Get a bunch of like 1-cost minions and then just slam them down, even though they're like really greedy minions to run in the deck. That could be cool. Who knows? Maybe I'll do that. Always brewing up new lists as soon as I can, you know? There are a few like older decks that I would love to actually see nerfed, but they probably won't be nerfed, so it is what it is. Actually, they probably will be in like a month or so. I would assume like we'll probably get at least one more balance patch before a mini set comes out. I know we just technically got the set, but I'm assuming that will be the case. I'm trying to remember when the mini set of the our perils came out last year. It's probably going to be within like a week of whenever it did last time. Also, turn 5 to get the quest complete is pretty nice. Going to get rid of Domino Effect just because, sure, they have a bunch of minions on board right now, but I don't think they're going to go that wide. Oh, well, I should have Hero Power first. That's my mistake. Okay, the mini set came out in September, and the release of Perils was in July. So I'd assume, or the end of July, I'm assuming the mini set will probably be the beginning of August. That seems like where it would probably fit. I'm going to be curious how like screwed over I'm going to get. I have a lot of things that I got to do in August, and there's a few weekends I'm going to be missing, but I'll try to get as much content before then as I can for those weeks. I'm curious because okay, so mini sets usually always give like additional classes for certain mechanics, right? Well, I guess the last one didn't. We didn't get any new imbue classes for the mini set there, which kind of sucked. I really was hoping for some like new imbue classes. Also, I'm really curious if the Rift doesn't say different Fel Beasts on it, because I don't think I've ever gotten 2 of the same Fel Beasts. Actually, it does say different, doesn't it? Huh. No, It could, in theory, be like I played a bunch of games with this deck, and I don't think I've ever seen duplicate Fell Beasts, even though it doesn't say it has to be different ones. It just says random. I'm assuming it's because there's no more room on the text to say that. Okay. I guess I would have been a little bit wrong. I guess we go with both temporaries, or I mean, deadlines, right? 2 deadlines. Because we can get rid of 1 minion here, get rid of another minion, and might as well get rid of Grifta, get rid of our Grifta amulet, and then... Okay. If we had more mana, though, we actually... Oh, there was a way for me to get game there, wasn't there? I guess we didn't know for a fact if we were going to... Yeah, I think we would have had it if I actually had used Eternal Layover. But it is what it is. Actually, no, we still would have needed some way to get rid of Grifta. I'm trying to think of, like, what other way. There might have been an angle to get lethal there. I am curious of what, like, I think Quest Rogue in theory is cool, but until they give, like, Rush to the ninjas, I don't think I'm ever going to try that deck. I think it's cool. It's the cheapest hero card we've ever seen in the game, but I just don't think it's needed. Okay, we can get 2 more Fell Beasts. I guess we're really taking charge here. I mean, I could finish the game, but let's just eternally BM our opponent. Ba-bam. Alright, now we're through the games. So that's my final thoughts of the deck. So, after the recent buffs, how does this deck perform? Well, I can proudly confirm this deck performs way better than it used to. I actually tried this the day before the buffs were announced, where it had a 45% win rate. However, after the buffs, it now has a 75% win rate across the 20 games that I played with the new version. And honestly, I didn't really change much with the list at all. The deck feels incredibly strong. It turns out lowering the cost of the quest reward was actually quite potent, making this deck really, really strong. If you're looking for a deck to use some of the new cards in, this one probably is a great one for y'all to try out. It'll catch some people off guards with the Clumsy Steward, and you have a lot of control tools to deal with those pesky Paladin lists. Like always, though, if you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, bye-bye.